Imagine you're getting home from a long day at your minimum wage retail job. It's been a rough one, and you're fresh off of a breakup, a truly painful one that has left you feeling unsure of what to do with the future, and you're constantly given reminders of your ex everywhere you go. Only to then, while sleeping in your run-down studio apartment, to be awoken by a demon asking for love, nay, demanding it. What do you do? It's quite the situation. Hi cuties, it's your girl Horror Queen Cosplay. I need an excuse to talk about Sorry We're Closed. This game came out last year and has obviously absolutely captivated me. It was easily one of my favorite games to come out last year, and I recently dropped 20 hours playing it so I could 100% all over 60 achievements to this game, and boy howdy do I love it, and I want to talk about it with you all. Don't worry, we're not going to dig into spoilers just yet. I'm going to have some timestamps below for spoilers, both for story and for endings as well, and a place you can skip to where you just want to skip right ahead to the themes. Now would be the time to maybe pause, go play the game yourself. It is roughly on average a 6-hour game if you want to fully experience it before we dive into discussion. But boy, do I have a lot to talk about because I love this game. First off, the gameplay itself. It is primarily a fixed third-person camera like your original Resident Evil and other classic survival horror games. However, there are moments where we have a moving camera that just works, ooh, chef's kiss, cinematically beautiful. And it cycles into a first-person perspective when you aim your weapon to kill enemies. There are 3 primary weapons within the game with a 4th special. You have an axe, you have this beautiful pistol, and a shotgun, as well as a super named Heartbreaker. Along with that, you also have a unique mechanic where Michelle, the main character, is gifted a 3rd eye through her curse by the demon, the Duchess. This 3rd eye, when opened within the close parameter with Michelle, you can aim down at enemies' weak points. However, you cannot shoot past this mini parameter around Michelle. It makes for some really interesting close quarters combat. Now, this is a far more pared down version of a classic survival horror game where it gets its inspiration from, like, say, Silent Hill, for example, not requiring you to nearly backtrack as much, and resources aren't a problem if you're playing on an easier difficulty, but can be a little bit more difficult if you are playing on its harder difficulty, so it's a much easier barrier of entry if you've never played a Silent Hill or Resident Evil or any horror game prior to playing this game, much less even a first-person shooter. However, it still maintains its own very unique visual style. While very clearly inspired by PS1 and PS2 era graphics, it still has its own vibrant sets of colors. I love a horror game, movie, whatever, that is not afraid to be a little bit neon, a little bit colorful, have a little bit of pink in the mix. I have an entire video on my channel talking about color and its use in horror games if you want to go check that out as well. But I appreciate this game for, while very clearly being inspired by others, having its own footprint and its own unique creature designs, very unique character designs, gorgeous portraits for most of the characters as well, and a banger soundtrack, especially the boss fights. Hopefully copyright will allow me to play some of this music during this video. When I tell you during the boss fights, I was jamming and the lyrics were perfectly matched to each and every single boss's not only tone, but story and even relationship to the main character of Michelle. Ooh, chef's kiss! I have this soundtrack loaded in my car playlists for when I drive, and it's so good and also very unique as well. While the third person to first person perspective again isn't new, it was incorporated in Resident Evil Survivor and Resident Evil Dead Aim, the incorporation of the third eye really makes it fresh and a high risk, high reward scenario. Do you let an enemy get in closer so you can use that third eye, or do you try to keep them at bay for fear of getting hit or attacked? There's also a stun function with that third eye as well, so it's really fun combat wise if you enjoy those sorts that out of your games. Additionally, aside from its combat, another major component of this game is the way that Michelle can affect 3 key romantic relationships within this game. Aside from whatever choices you make for Michelle's future with the 4 endings that you can pick, there are 3 other sets of characters that you can affect as well. There's her best friend Robin with their on-again, off-again situationship long-term Benedict. What affects their choices is primarily based upon one specific major choice later on in the game that I will dig into when we get into the story aspect. The second is Daryl and Oakley. Daryl is interesting. The game does start off with Daryl begrudging to Michelle at her day job about his relationship problems. He is head over heels for Oakley, who is the owner of Oakley's Diner and is one of the sweetest characters out there. So you have this very black and white, opposites attract relationship of Oakley, who cares deeply for other people, and Daryl, who... how do I put this? One of the worst. Daryl is not a good person by any stretch of the imagination, but is so devoted to Oakley and will do anything to make sure that his relationship with Oakley is good. Finally, the third relationship is between an angel and a demon named Chamuel. Apologies if it's pronounced differently. And Dream Eater. Angels and demons are a major component of this game, and they're not supposed to mix. If they do fall in love and spend time together, they will eventually turn human, which if you're an immortal being, that can be quite scary. The lore of this world is that all demons were once angels who fell because of some fixation or reason, whatever it be, and it can make their relationships with angel counterparts a little bit difficult. And you have demons like the Duchess who feel as though they are lacking something, and she feels that love is the thing that will make her whole again, or at least make her feel a little bit less empty inside. On top of the 3 relationships that you have to balance, there is also Lucy the operator. Lucy regularly does not speak and just appears to be on her phone and disinterested. However, through Michelle's third eye, it is revealed that she is a demon and is also the operator that Michelle speaks to whenever she wants to save the game through a red phone. Lucy provides Michelle with an offer that almost seems too good to refuse, a way to not only get rid of the curse and the Duchess, but to also get back her ex, the one who left Michelle because Michelle wasn't exciting enough, and who also is the star of a soap opera named Dying Petals that is constantly seen throughout the game. Now let's talk about the story. Here is the timestamp below if you wish to skip just to talking about the 4 endings, and an additional timestamp as well if you want to skip just to my final thoughts on the themes of this game. If you choose to skip, that is totally fair. I shall see you in a hot second. So the game takes place over the course of a week in a small town, a small section of London. The game truly starts in the prologue where Michelle is dumped into Dream Eater's palace. Dream Eater's palace is beautiful, ornate, but harbors some darkness within it. Michelle first encounters Dream Eater and he tries to kill her, kicking off Michelle's horrendous, no good, very bad, very stressful week. In between these sequences of the game where Michelle is fighting demons and getting the pieces needed to challenge the Duchess for good and get rid of her curse, aka 3 third eyes from 3 past victims, Michelle will be able to wander around town and communicate with other people, as well as make those hard choices that affect the other relationships within the game. The first sequence that we run into is called the Underground Station, where Michelle goes to find her friend Robin, who turns out is a demon. Robin is very determined to help Michelle out of her situation, gives her a few weapons, and sends her on her way. The Underground Station is home to one of the first victims that you'll encounter in the game, a woman named Jenny, who is an entrepreneur, businesswoman, and lover of money. She thinks that the emptiness inside her can be filled with money, not with love. Michelle works her way through the subway, past all of the demons in combat, to eventually power the subway back on and hops a train with Robin. Robin is in search of an artifact that will help her angel lover, Benedict, with his post. Benedict is unable to leave his job within the abandoned church because he is guarding a door. And of course, that puts a huge strain on their relationship. And Robin being a demon, she can't stay in the church for very long herself. The train is attacked by a monstrous demonic version of Jenny who has let the curse overtake her. And Robin, for a brief time, is thought dead. This is a great start to the game. It's very classic for a lot of survival horror games like Silent Hill and Resident Evil to have some sort of an underground or subway sequence. It's got grungy, rusted metals all around you. It's the smallest area you'll have to explore, and is a great way to help the player get their bearings, and is a very simple boss fight that also feels very high stakes after seeing Robin get potentially eaten alive. Michelle finds herself in the Duchess Hotel shortly afterwards. This hotel is home to the doors of the Duchess's many cursed victims, and she begins to uncover more about this hidden world of angels and demons that has been running parallel to hers this whole time. She finds out that Clarissa, a dancer at Daryl's bar, is actually an angel who always kills a demon at the end of each and every of her acts, and Clarissa wants revenge at Daryl to oust him out of the club. She offers Michelle a path to gain power herself, to stop being at the bottom of the totem pole, so to speak, and find her own power. She proposes that you break up Daryl and Oakley's relationship. And in doing so, she will help you maybe find a place within the Duchess's demonic empire. Michelle also interacts more with Daryl in this setting, finding out that he is the Duchess's right-hand man and is also responsible for and points the Duchess her way and is partially responsible for her cursed status as well, alongside other mysterious disappearances within the town, a la, hey, we've been serving human meat all along. Ooh, yeah, when I said Daryl was not a good person, how much are you willing to forgive? Michelle also meets with Beloved and Chamuel, 2 angels. Beloved worried about Chamuel's love of a demon and how much it will hurt them. And eventually one of the main ways that you'll be able to affect Chamuel's relationship, which at this moment you don't know that is with Dream Eater, you can send a love letter that Chamuel has to Dream Eater or provide it to Beloved, immediately ending Chamuel and Dream Eater's relationship. But if you send that letter, you move towards repairing their bond. Next up, you'll be going to the aquarium with Robin. This aquarium also houses the next victim, a pop star. She craves desire, but not the Duchess's desire, and wants to choose who she wants loving her, rather than having a more personal and true, deep meaning of love, something more surface. This is also where you'll find the shotgun and encounter newer, buggier types of enemies. And it really becomes clear that if Michelle is left to this curse, she will become one of these giant demonic monsters. And it's becoming a little bit scarier and a little bit more real. The boss fight in this sequence is at the top of a massive dirty aquarium tank. And again, all of these songs are bangers, but I had to listen to this one a lot more than the others because this was the boss that I chose to take on to get the achievement where you don't use a pistol or shotgun against any of the bosses and just use the axe and Heartbreaker. Man, it was a time. That was a long experience, and I may or may not have treated it like a Dark Souls boss fight where I learned each and every of her attack patterns. Do you need to do that? But did I? I did. This also incorporates some puzzle working as well, with getting the pipes to work to fill up a tank to burst and get that second third eye and move on into the hotel once more and have a few more interactions with the Duchess, understanding just where she's coming from and why she's doing what she's doing. The third major area with the third victim, I say victim now very loosely, is in the crypt. Robin runs into the crypt ahead of Michelle and Benedict because they are very, very convinced that the artifact needed to relieve Benedict from his post is hidden within the crypt. The crypt is one of the largest areas of the game, filled with lots of windy, twisty turns, doors that are easy to miss, and a ton more difficult to fight critters. The difficulty really does start to amp up here with armored enemies and giant bugs. Oh boy. At the end of it, Michelle comes face to face in a conversation with Gabriella. Gabriella, unlike the other victims of the Duchess, found it as a way to achieve what she calls perfection. Gabriella clearly led a rough childhood, not in the sense of not being without money, but having really emotionally vacant parents who put a lot of pressure of perfection on her growing up. So it gave her a warped sense of self, and she locked herself away in the crypt, trying to find some semblance of happiness within her crazed mind. Instead of a traditional boss fight, you are given waves of enemies that Michelle and Robin must fight off together, keeping in mind Robin's health as well. At the end of it, when Gabriella is revealed, she also has the key, an extra spare key to the Duchess's bedroom within the hotel. Robin, while bleeding, begs you to give the key to them. If you give the key to Robin, you get the good ending for Robin and Benedict's relationship. If you don't, well, you get access to the Duchess's hidden bedroom, as well as the final pieces for a few achievements if you are more of an achievement hunter. We move into the final talk with the Duchess in the hotel. At this point, Michelle has decided that she has enough with 3 eyes to challenge the Duchess for her freedom. And we move into the final act of the game. We get to once again encounter the Dream Eater's palace, and the events that transpire there are dependent upon how you foster Chamuel and the Dream Eater's relationship. If you didn't send the letter to Dream Eater and did not tell and told Chamuel that you could never love a demon, their relationship will be fractured. There is a way to save it in the last second if you didn't give the letter to Beloved through a teddy bear. Otherwise, if you did save their relationship, things will be a little bit nicer. It will change the conversations between Chamuel and Dream Eater drastically. If the relationship is fading out, it will become apparent that Chamuel and Dream Eater's relationship has become a toxic cycle where Chamuel will come professing their love as the angel of love themselves, and Dream Eater consistently kills them. However, if you have tried to foster their relationship, it will become a little bit more clear that Dream Eater is also hurting. They're not hurting Chamuel for the sake of hurting them. They are trying to push Chamuel away because they cannot bear to see Chamuel hurt or truly hurt, outside of just regenerating again with a fresh new body, but hurt in the sense of turning human and eventually withering away, leading a human life, aging and dying. It's scary to an immortal. Change is scary, but you can't have love without change. You'll encounter a massive boss fight with the Dream Eater where Chamuel and the Dream Eater will tumble away together into the abyss. You may or may not see them again, depending upon, again, how their relationships has panned out. If it's on the negative side, they'll be gone forever. If it's more on the positive side of healing, to, as Chamuel puts it, you don't fix someone to love them. You help them heal. You give them the opportunities and the abilities and guide them to become a better person. Not fixing, helping. Which then moves into the final encounter with the Duchess within their hotel. There's plenty of puzzles, tough new enemies to get through before we move on into the final boss fight with the Duchess. Now let's talk about the endings. Now, the 4 endings, the standard ending is what we call Robin's ending. You encounter and get to pick which ending you want through an interesting dreamlike sequence where Michelle is transported into the set of Dying Petals, the show that her ex is on. The TV show is used as a parallel between her relationship and her ex's. Michelle being represented by the character that Michelle's ex is breaking up with on the show. Within this sequence, we get 4 different doors and get to choose which character's ending you want. Robin is the standard ending and the one that you always have access to, regardless of if you helped her relationship with Benedict or not. Robin's ending is a everything goes back to normal choice. Michelle leads her same life, and everything else that is affected is based upon the other relationships that you hurt or helped throughout the game. If you helped Oakley and Daryl's relationship, you'll find them packing up to go on a honeymoon together, ready to get married with a rat named Mimi, after Michelle, of course, and off to go lead a happy life together with perhaps the hopes that Daryl will become a better person through his relationship with Oakley. Oakley giving him that chance to help him become a better person, not fixing him. However, if you chose to break up their relationship, seeing as Oakley deserves to understand and know just exactly who he's dating, selling human meat and all, then you'll see Oakley packing up to move to a different town, and Daryl getting beaten on the street by Clarissa and the demons known as Cerberus, with Clarissa taking over Daryl's bar just as she wanted. As well as if you helped Chamuel and Dream Eater's relationship, you'll see them as humans who don't recognize her but happily together on the street. And if you helped out Robin and Benedict, you'll see them both human as well, talking with the store owner Marty, who has a love of angels and demons and other demonic spooky stuff together. Now, my least favorite ending, which is also quite literally the bad ending of the game, is Lucy's ending. Lucy's ending is the one that requires the most out of the player to get. In order to do so, you have to fix Daryl and Oakley's relationship, playing matchmaker a little bit to get half of the Duchess's name, as well as getting a broken demon's heart by breaking up Chamuel and Dream Eater, and also an angel's halo by helping Robin and Benedict. So once you have those 3 pieces and give them to Lucy, things go horribly wrong for Michelle in the end. It's revealed that Lucy was never going to get Michelle, her ex, back. that she just wanted another host body to take over. And Michelle takes over Lucy's old role, mute and unable to speak. But in a cruel, cruel twist of fate, her ex does visit her at her place of work, but she can't speak. She's trapped in her own body. She got what she wanted, but not exactly, as her ex leaves her. It's brutal. It's that idea of you can't truly go back in the past. You can't manipulate someone into loving you. It's gonna go bad. It's not gonna go right. The next ending is Clarissa's ending, where Michelle literally takes Daryl's place. She becomes the new Daryl. You get to choose whether or not she wants to be called Mimi the Conqueror or Dead Girl. I went with Mimi the Conqueror because why not? And she becomes the new bully in town, the Duchess's new right hand. It fades out with her going back to the convenience store, where it mirrors exactly the start of the game, even utilizing the same animations that Daryl had when first speaking to Michelle, where she leads another victim to the Duchess. It's an example of someone who is hurting, a victim, becoming the abuser and feeding into the cycle in a sense of trying to get control, lashing out from their pain. Finally, we have my personal favorite ending, which is Chamuel's ending. Through Chamuel's ending that you can only get by repairing their relationship with Dream Eater, everything appears normal, appears the same. You can do whatever you want with Daryl and Oakley's relationship, and with Robin and Benedict's relationship outside of it, so the town will just reflect those two different outcomes. However, when Michelle goes to work, she finds a human version of the Duchess who has no memories of what just happened, and they hit it off, flirting a little bit, opening up a healthy human relationship between the two, which opens up the question, who deserves redemption and who doesn't? Now let's talk about the major themes of this game. We're gonna go spoiler free. I'm not going to outright allude to the endings if you are fresh here, having just skipped the story and skipped the ending talk. If it's not obvious, a lot of this game is about love, but it's more than that. It's not just romantic love. It's multiple types of relationships that are straining and on the rocks. Relationships that upon one lens might look a little bit toxic and harmful, but on another lens, if given the opportunity to help someone and help them heal or give them redemption, maybe they can be a better person and the relationship can thrive after that. This game brings up a lot of thoughts of who is past redemption. Is it okay to hurt the one you love, to push them away because you can't bear to see them truly hurt? Is it okay to hide a true negative part of yourself? Shouldn't your partner know everything about you? Or maybe you can change and become a better person for them. Are you focused on survival and won't help out a friend in need? Or will you maybe sacrifice an object that might help you that could certainly help them? Who deserves a redemption? Who deserves a fresh start? And who doesn't? It's all a player's choice and a player's mirror, depending upon how the choices you make in this game with all the other characters' relationships, not just Michelle's fate as well. It makes for a lot of replayability and, in my opinion, a lot of great discussions, because personally, I don't find Daryl and Oakley's relationship worth saving. I think Oakley deserves a lot, deserves to know everything, and deserves better. But on the other hand, I think that Chamuel and Dream Eater, it's worthwhile to help them heal together. But other people might say vice versa. You might look at it and think that Chamuel and Dream Eater's relationship isn't good and should end. It's all up to personal opinion. You might think that the ending I didn't like is your favorite as well, and a perfect cycle and a perfect end to a horror story. It's all what you make of it, and that is truly what makes a fantastic game, and one that is really great to replay over and over again as well. I certainly hope that this has gotten you to check out Sorry We're Closed. It is such a fun game in my opinion, and as a horror game enthusiast, it is very, very refreshing to have such unique character designs, vibrant colors, fun soundtrack, and while still pulling from the classics, being its own game as well. Hopefully I will see you again for another video, be it to talk about cosplay or to talk about other video games that interest me, or long form essay topics that really have me scratching at the walls and rattling the bars of my enclosure to talk about. Take care of both yourselves and your loved ones, and hopefully I shall see you soon. Bye, cuties!